Hi, I'm Mark Gaylor. I'd like to take the opportunity to demonstrate my selective grading action. I'll locate the grading action by opening up the Actions panel. And inside the folder of Selective Grading Actions, you'll see we have a number of options here. I'll select the Grading Sampler option to begin with, and then I'm going to hit the Play button at the base of the panel here, Play Selection. And this will go through the action. This has got a number of different looks or grading treatments that we're going to be applying to the image, so it'll take a minute or two to run through this action. Okay, and what we'll see in the Layers panel is we'll be able to see the different grading options, and there it is, it's completed that. I'll just collapse the Actions panel so we can take a holistic look at the image there. Now you'll see that we've got the number of options here, and we've also got a Vibrance setting here. So I'll just double click to open up the Vibrance, and you can see but quickly we can just create a subtle toned version of this action, or we can create a very vibrant version, and we have those number of options here. I'll just double click the word Vibrance to reset that to 0 and open up the Layers panel once again. If I want to see the other options that this action has created, I can just click off the visibility icon for each of these grading options. Here I'll click off the visibility of the ESP grading, and then I'll move down to the red grading, the green grading, and finally the blue grading. And as you can see at the background, we also have the unadjusted image here. Now I actually like the ESP grading option, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this action once again, but this time we'll have an opportunity to interact with the action and all of the layers it creates. Now the actions that I create also create a history or a snapshot, so that we can quickly snap back to the point in time just before we played that action. And I'll move back over to the Actions panel now. Okay, now it was the ESP grading that I preferred, so I'm going to play this action once again, but without the other options this time. Now I'll click on the Play Selection button, and now here's our first point of interaction here. It's inviting me either to continue if my subject is centered, and this creates a clear area for this toning, or I can, if my subject is off center, as is the case with this image, I can fine tune this. So I'll just hit the stop, and then I'll be able to move this clear area over the subject. Okay, so I'm going to hit the stop button in the panel, and then I'm going to select the Move tool from the Tools panel, and then I can move this into position so it's firmly over the center of that subject there. Now we also have the opportunity of transforming this area or clear area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the Command T on a Mac or Control T on a PC, and this allows me to transform this area that is going to be protected from the toning. Okay, I'll just collapse that panel momentarily and just fine tune this so we don't get too much of that background there. Okay, now I'm going to commit that transform, and then we need to resume the action from the Actions panel just by clicking the Play Selection once again, and this will fine tune that process. Okay, and there we see we have an area in the center or off center here which has got less of the grading treatment here, protecting some of the skin tones. Now again we have the Vibrance. I'll just collapse that panel one more time. Okay, we have that Vibrance again, so we can create that subtle version as we saw before, or the very vibrant version. Again, I'll just double click on the word Vibrance to reset that to 0. And open up the Layers panel once again. Now this time playing the individual action, we have the grading folder here with all of the component pieces. Now I'll just wipe those off, and you can see the how I've constructed this action. Okay, after a hue saturation, which just fine-tunes some of the saturation inside the image, we come in with the main grading treatment, which is the gradient map here. And this gives me that beautiful blue-green tone over the image, but as you can see it's protected by that mask in the central portion of that image. If I hit the shift key to switch that mask off temporarily, you'll see the gradient map here floods in over those skin tones which are protected if I switch that layer mask back on. We have another hue saturation just to fine-tune some of the colors in the center, just to restore some of the saturation. We have a high pass adjustment which creates a little bit of a sharper image there. And we also have a blur layer. Now this blurs the image towards the edges here. If we don't like that, we can leave that on or off, or we can even adjust the opacity of that. We have a levels adjustment which just creates some thinner blue cast in the shadows there, and then we have a little bit of noise to add a little bit of texture, a little bit of a brightness snap in the center of the image, and then also a vignette darkening down the edges. And again, this vignette can be controlled by using the opacity here, by increasing the amount of vignette or decreasing by lowering the opacity. I'll put it back to the original 35% or so. Okay, also we can just lower the opacity of the whole ESB grading set here just by dragging the overall, if we just want a little bit more of a subtle version of that toning action. Okay, so I'll just bring that back up to 100%, and now I'll show you the action playing out on a landscape image this time. I'll come over to an image I've called the hub here, and you can see I've played the options here from the ESB grading to the red grading, the green grading, and finally the blue grading. Now in this particular image I'm favoring the blue grading, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play this blue grading image. Now I've got a duplicate of this image and I'll play it to this one here. Okay, so again we come up to the actions panel. This time I'll look for the blue grading, which I preferred on this particular image, and then I'll hit the play button or play selection button. Now again I'm going to stop the action here because I'm going to modify. What I'm going to do this time, instead of just moving this area, I'm going to transform. I'm going to bring this slightly out towards the edges here, so I'm just going to drag this a little bit wider. I want to create a larger clear area for this particular image. Okay, and then I'm just going to hit the return or enter key to commit that, and then hit the play selection button to resume the action. And again this will go through and create me that set with all of the layers intact once again. Okay, and there's my blue grading. Okay, I'll just collapse the actions panel, and what we can see here is we've got an area in the center which is protected, and we have that blue cool tone around the periphery of the image. Now as I look at this image, I do actually would prefer that warm sand to extend towards this bottom right hand corner of the image, and the flexibility of leaving all of the layers intact allows me to actually do that. Now the color mapping is actually on this gradient map layer, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the brush tool from the tools panel and just press the B key on the keyboard. Now I'm selecting 50% opacity here, and I'm going to increase the size of the brush by using the close square bracket key just to create a much larger brush there. Now I'm going to push or paint directly into this layer mask to clear a little bit of the toning or color treatment from this area. Now a couple of passes should create that warmer tone in this bottom right hand corner there, and that gives me the better look that I'm looking for. Okay, and just to see a before and after here, I'll just move that panel a little bit smaller so you can see. Just going to hold down the option key and click on that background layer so we can see a before and after. Okay, and there's the selective grading. This action can be downloaded from www.markgaylor.com.